Welcome to the last episode of my safari suit series. In today's video, we will be tidying up our safari suit by applying final finishing and attaching the collar. In case you haven't seen the past episodes of this video series, kindly find the link to the videos in the description area below. Consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't, so that you won't miss any of my subsequent videos. Also, I would like to appreciate everyone who has been watching out on my videos. Thank you so much. And for those of you who have not been watching ads, I'm encouraging you not to skip those ads, because that is the only way I get rewarded here on YouTube. My name is Bolaji and this is Regi School of Fashion. In the last episode of this video series, we stopped on attaching the sleeve. So I told you guys I will be attaching the sleeves on the fabric and on the lining as well, which I've done. So here is the sleeve, the two sleeves, then on the lining, these are the sleeves. Okay, so in today's episode, we will continue by working on the armhole area of the sleeve. Okay, so this is the point where our wording comes in. So we will be adding wording to the seam allowances of the sleeve, only the fabric, not the lining. Okay, so I did one side in order for you to see the difference if you don't apply this step. So you can see what I have here. After attaching the sleeve, this is what I have. In our last episode, don't forget we gathered the sleeve a little in order to fit into the armhole. So after attaching the sleeve, this is what I have. So when you attach yours and you have something like this, no cause for alarm. So it is normal because it is a two-piece sleeve. So all I need to do is just to work on the armhole area by adding wording to that side. So after adding wording, this is what I have. Adding wording to the armhole area is different from padding the chest area. So let me show you the wrong side of this, so you can see what I have. So this is what I have after working on the armhole area. So I will be showing you how to achieve this. So that was why I left this, so that you guys will understand perfectly. You can see what I have on the other side. So this is what I will be doing. I will turn this to the wrong side, then I will trace out the shape of the armhole. So this is going to be for the upper sleeve alone. Let me show you this joining parts. So this is where the upper sleeve starts, from here to the other side of the joining, which is here. So what we have from here to the underarm is the under sleeve. So I will be tracing out the seam allowance for the upper sleeve only. Then I will hold it like so. So this is where the upper sleeve starts. Then I will place it on my wording. This is a very light wording. Don't forget, in the first episode of this video series where I introduced the materials needed, I told you we have thick wording and we have soft wording. Then we have another texture that falls in between the hard and the soft. So this is the soft one. So I'll place the armhole like so. Just pay a closer attention to what I will be doing. So here is the seam allowance. You can see the sleeve. So I will place the seam allowance on the wording like so. Now I've placed the seam allowance of the sleeve on the wording. You can see what I have. So this is where the upper sleeve starts. So I will just take it backward a little. Then I will trace out the shape I have around the armhole. So this is the excess I have here. I will ignore this. So I will trace this out all around to the other side of the armhole. Then I will add a little around the like half of an inch. I don't want it to stop exactly on that point, so that I will be on a safer side when I'm fixing it, so that you will not have a shortage at any point. So that is why I'm doing this. So make sure you do yours like so. Okay, no, so after tracing this out, then I will remove the sleeve. You can see what I have. So I will just make sure I have a smooth curve around here, tracing this out properly. You can see what I have. Okay, so after tracing it out, then I will be measuring 2 inches forward. So I will take the measurement following the shape I traced out. 2 inches. So I will trace it out like so. Okay, then I will cut on this line. I will cut this and I will cut this. So I will just match this together on a straight line. I will match this side together on a straight line, then I will cut it out. So guys, now I have the wording cut out. As you can see the shape I have for the wording. So the next step is to attach the wording to the seam allowances around the armhole, so which I'll be showing you right now. So this is the sleeve side. You can see this is the sleeve, and this is the bodies. This is the seam allowance I used in joining the sleeve and the bodies together. So now I have the wording cut out. So this is the shape I traced out. This is the inner part of the wording, and this is the outer part. So this is the part I measured 2 inches. So the part that I measured 2 inches will be facing towards the sleeve. Okay, so you can see what I have here. This is where the upper sleeve starts. Then I will take this a little bit below that point, then cover it up, cover up the seam allowance. Can you see what I have? So this has to be at the center. You can see what I'm having here. Then I will hold it like so. Here is the sleeve, then fold in the edges. Okay, so when you are doing this, make sure you did not exceed the seam allowance point. The seam I have here, you can see the seam I have here. So I will make sure I did not exceed that point. Then I will secure this with my sewing pins. So I will be folding this all round, all the way to the other side of the upper sleeve point. Okay, so this is where I will be stopping a little bit below the joining point. So which is here. Okay, so I will leave this aside. Then I will be applying an S stitch from here. I will take it all round, then stops on the other side. So after which I will trim off the excess I have. So guys, I'm done fixing the wording around the armhole. As you can see, after attaching it, this is what I have. You will have it like so. So it will be facing towards the bodies. So after attaching it, then I flip it over to rest on the sleeve. It relaxes on the sleeve like so. then I gave it a good press. So make sure you give it a press, then turn it to the right side, then give it a press as well. You open this up, then press it all around so that we have that round shape of a two-piece sleeve. So after pressing, this is what I have. So this is what I have. You can see what I have on the other side as well. So make sure you give it a press as much as you can. Now that we are done with the sleeve area, so the next step is to join the lining with the fabric, and this is going to be the sleeve area only. So I will be joining the sleeve to sleeve. So just pay a closer attention. This is what I'll be doing. I will turn this to the wrong side. Okay, lest I forget, if you would like to attach a shoulder pad to your suit, so this is the point you will be adding your shoulder pad. Add it on the shoulder line. So half of it will fall to the right side, to the front panel, then half of it will fall to the back panel. Okay, but I'm not adding shoulder pad to this safari suit. And if you don't know how to add a shoulder pad to your suit, don't worry. Just make sure you follow me closely on the blazer suit series. When we get to the sewing part of the suit, I will be showing you how to add your shoulder pad, then how to pad the chest area as well. So I will be applying this step on the blazer suit, but for this safari suit I'm not adding a shoulder pad, but you can add yours if you feel like adding it. So I'll be turning this to the wrong side like so. Can you see what I'm having? This is the right side, then this is the wrong side. Then I'll flip it over. So in such a way I will have the sleeve showing at the upper part like so. Then I will pick the lining, then I will position the lining the same way I positioned the fabric. You can see it's on the wrong side like so. Okay, can you see what I have? So the wrong side will be facing the wrong side. The wrong side of the lining facing the wrong side of the fabric. So this is what I will be having after placing it. So this is how it will be when we are done constructing the suit. So that is how you should just position it. Then I will pick the sleeve for the lining, then the sleeve for the fabric like so. So the first thing you need to look out for is the joining side. So that is where the under sleeve and the upper sleeve were joined together. So I have the two sides here, then I will look for the two sides on the lining as well. This has to match in order to avoid issues. Okay, so I will turn this like so. It's going to be right side facing the right side, right side facing the right side. So I'll make sure the joining sides matches properly, and make sure your seam allowance is well opened. Then I will secure this side with my sewing pin. I'll go to the other side as well, match the joining sides together. You can see what I'm having here for the positioning is the right side facing the right side. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I'll pin the remaining parts of the sleeve together. Can you see what I'm having? So that is why you have to be diligent when you are constructing your safari suit. Make sure you use the same measurements. One should not be shorter or longer than the other, so that you will not have issues at the middle of the construction. So this has to match properly like so. And again, make sure the length of the sleeve you have on the fabric is shorter than the length of the sleeve you have on the fabric. So this will help the lining to be hidden inside the sleeve. That is, the lining will not be showing outside after construction. Okay, so this is what I have. I made the length of the sleeve on the lining 0.75 shorter than the length I have on the fabric. That is 3/4 of an inch. You can use between 1/2 of an inch and 1 inch, 1/2 of an inch, 3/4 or 1 inch. So I use 3/4, which is 0.75. So the fabric is longer than the lining by 0.75. so this is what I have here. Okay, so I will just take this around. I have 1/2 inch of seam allowance on the hemline. Then I will stitch all round. I will stitch all round. After stitching, so I'll bring this outward from the right side. I will just pick the sleeve like so, then turn it like this. So this is what I will be having after turning. Then I will give it a very good press, and I will repeat the same process on the other side. So guys, I've joined the lining and the fabric together on the sleeve area. So this is what I have after joining. Then the other side as well, this is what I have. So now I will be turning this inside. So I will just open this to the right side, which is the main fabric for the safari suit. Then I will hold the opening of the sleeve like so, then cover this up in order to push in the lining. So after pushing in the lining, I will be having something like this on the inside. Can you see what I have? Then I will give it a very good press in order to stabilize the lining inside the fabric. So I'll be turning the other side as well, and I will give it a very good press. So from the right side, I'll put in my hand, then bring in the sleeve. Okay, so if you are making use of a long sleeve, the same method is applied. You can see the shape. You can see how round we have the shape, that it really comes out well. So if you had a shoulder part, the level of the shoulder line we align together with the level we have on the sleeve area. Okay, so that is what I have. So I'll be giving this a very good press. So guys, I've given this a press, and this is what I have after giving it a press. You can see the lining is inside the fabric. Okay, so now that we are done with the construction and finishing of the sleeve, the next step is to finish the vent area. So in finishing the vent area, I will be pulling out the lining like so. So the two has to stay separately. So I've pulled out the lining, so the two has to stay separately. So here I have the lining and here I have the fabric. Okay, now this is my vent area. Then I ironed a fusible interfacing on the vent area. On the other side as well, I ironed a fusible interfacing, and you can see what I have. Then I ironed the vent allowance inward, so which is 2 inches. I folded it and I gave it a press. Also on the lining, I ironed this also, and I fused it with a fusible interfacing. Okay, so can you see what I have on the lining? So this is what I have on the other side. Okay, so the first step is to hold the two vent allowance together like so. So I will hold it together like so, and you can see the center back joining. It stops here. It stops here. Then from this point where the center back joining stops, I will continue the stitching downward like so. From this point, this is the angle point. You can see this is where the vent allowance starts, this point. Then I will continue the stitching downward by 1/2 inch. Then I will cross it out like so. Then from this edge downward, I will be having 1/2 inch as well. So I will have it like so. Then I will leave 1/2 inch on the edges of the vent allowance like so. So from this point to this point is 1/2 inch. From these edges to this line is 1/2 inch. Then from these edges also, that is the vent allowance edges, to this point is 1/2 inch. So this is how I will be stitching. I will stitch from where I stopped downward to this point, then I will cross it out, then stops here. So that is what I will be doing for the vent for the vent allowance on the fabric. Then for the one I have on the lining, you can see I've stitched the center back as well. I will just hold this together. Then from where I stopped, I will stitch all the way down. It's going to be a little bit below the vent point, which is here. This is the vent point. So I will bring it downward to exceed that point like 1/4 of an inch, and I will stop here. So that is what I'll be doing right now. So guys, now I have the vent area stitched as I said, and on the lining as well, I stitched downward below the vent point. So this is what I have. You can see here is the vent point. So this is the vent point, then I stitch downward below the vent point like 1/2 of an inch. So I'll put this aside, then place a notch on this angle 90 point. You can see after stitching this, as I said, you can see what I have here. You can see is like angle points. So I will place a notch on that point, but I will not cut all through. I will let this be away like 1/4 of an inch from my seam point. So can you see what I have? So when you are notching, don't cut all through. So after which I will have it like so. You can see what I'm having now. So one side of the vent has to lay flat, open up like so, then the other side will overlap. Now it is not left to you the side that you want to be an overlapping for the vent. It can be the left hand side and it can be the right hand side. It all depends on you. So I can decide to use this side. I can decide to use my left hand side as an overlap vent. So this will overlap this like so. And if I want to use the right hand side, I will open up this. Can you see what I have? Then I will make this to overlap. Like so. Once I have it like this, then I will turn it to the wrong side. I will be turning it to the wrong side. Then I will be working on the lining. So this is the left hand side for the lining. So I labeled it as left. So if you know you can get confused, make sure you label yours as well. Here is the left hand side for the lining, and here is the left hand side for the main fabric. So this is the right hand side and this is the right hand side. And I said I want my left hand side of the vent to overlap the right. So what do I mean by this? Here is the left and this is the right. So this is the way I will be positioning my vent. The right hand side will be laying flat and the left hand side will overlap on it. So once I do this, I will take this to my ironing table and I will give it a good press in order to stabilize that positioning. Okay, so this will be in and this will overlap, and I will give it a very good press. Also on the fabric, I'll be repeating the same process. The left is overlapping on the right. So here is the left. So this will be laying flat like so. I'll give it a press, iron out the edges I have here. That is the folded part. I'll iron it flat, then make this to overlap like so. Then I'll give it a very good press and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, I have this ironed out, the vent area. So this is what I have after giving it a good press on the lining, then on the fabric as well. This is what I have. You can see after giving it a good press, then I will be working on the lining. So I will open up the lining like so, put this aside. So you can see the ironed parts. Then I will trace out this shape, that is the edges of the vent allowance. So I will trace it out. So just pay a closer attention. and make sure you did not skip any step so that you don't get it wrong. So this is the simplest method so far. I'm trying to make this simple as much as possible. So you can see what I have. So I traced from the hemline upward to this shape, then I square it inward. Okay, so after tracing it out, then I will open this up like so. So can you see what I have? I will open it up. Okay, then I will mark in half of an inch as seam allowance. So here is the shape, then I will mark in half of an inch as seam allowance. So now that I have the seam allowance marked out, then I'll be cutting on the seam allowance line like so. So I'll be cutting away this side because I did not need it anymore. So be careful when you are doing this, don't cut the other side of the vent allowance. Okay. You can see what I have. So I will cut this out. So this is not needed anymore. Then I will mark out this side. So this angle side, I will mark it out like so. Then I will notch that part a little, just like 1/4 of an inch. I'm not notching all through, I'm not cutting all through. So you can see what I cut out of that area. Okay, so the next step is to place the lining on the fabric. So now I will be joining the lining and the fabric together like so. So this is the open side. So this is the right hand side, this is the right hand side. So this has to go right side facing the right side. So I'll flip this over like so, then make it face the right side of this. So you can see the opening I left when I was stitching this side. So this is where I will be using the opening. Okay, so I will place this right side facing the right side. Then I will stitch all the way down. I will stitch all the way down. So please let me quickly explain this. When we are cutting your fabric, whatever you had as your hem allowance is what you'll be taking away from your lining. Okay, what do I mean by this? After taking the length of your safari suit, you need hem allowance of about 1.5 to 2 inches. So if your hem allowance is 2 inches, make sure the length of your lining is 2 inches shorter than the length of the main fabric. If your hem allowance is 1.5 inches, make sure the length of your lining is 1.5 inches shorter than the length of the fabric. So whatever you use as hem allowance on the main fabric is what you will be cutting away, subtracting from the length of the lining. So hope you understand this. So now I will hold this together, then pin the edges. So this is what I'm having here. So I will take this up by 1 inch, then trim it off. So make sure you do this before you get to this point. So when you are cutting out your excuse me, when you are cutting out your fabric, so make sure you trim it off. So now I will be pinning this all the way down, so you can see what I have. Then I will stop when it is 1/2 inch to get to the edge. So which means when I'm stitching, I will not stitch all the way to the hemline. So I will measure 1/2 inch upward like so, because these two are going together. I will be stitching the two together like so. So that is why I needed 1/2 inch on the hemline. Okay, so here is the point. Then I will stitch with 1/2 inch upward, 1/2 inch upward. So from this point downward to the 1/2 inch point. So I'll be doing this and show you the next step. So guys, I've joined the two edges together, as you can see. So this is what I have, the lining and the fabric, and I stopped at this point, that is 1/2 inch before the hemline of the lining. Okay, so after stitching, I will just cover it up like so. Then I will come to this side, open this side as well, then hold the two edges together. So this is the vent area for the fabric and this is for the lining. So I'll be holding it together like so. So when you are joining the other side, make sure you align the two vent area on the fabric together. So make sure they both align properly like so. Then I will just secure the edges together so that I don't have one side longer than the other side after finishing the vent area. So I will hold the lining and the fabric now together. And I'll make sure the lining to lining also aligned properly. So I'm securing that together as well. So after which I will hold the two edges. So I'll hold the two edges. So you can see what I'm having from this point. This is a notch point from this point to this edge like so. So then I will be stitching with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I will be stitching with 1/2 inch seam allowance from the upper part, from the top here, downward, 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 downward. Then I will look to the other side, that is the length of the lining. So I will take this up by 1/2 inch, just the same way I did the other side. So I will stop 1/2 inch before the hemline of the lining. So this is the hemline of the lining. Then I will measure 1/2 inch upward, 1/2 inch. I have it here. So this is where I will be stopping. Okay, so I will take it up like so from top downward, and I will stop on the 1/2 inch point. So I'll be doing this and I'll be back to show you the next step. So guys, I've stitched the two edges together, as you can see. This is what I have after stitching. So the next step is to open up the vents like so. You can see what I'm having. So can you see what I'm having? So the next step is to give this a very good press in order to make it lay flat on each other. Okay, so I will be giving this a good press, this side and this side. So this is what I will be having on the right side. Okay, so you can see what I'm having. So this is going to lay flat like so. So this is the right side. and this is the left hand side. So the left hand side will overlap on the right hand side.